Welcome everyone to the Urantia book. As somebody who's been reading this book for 12 years, it has answered all of the difficult questions that one could possibly come up with about spirituality, about religion, about philosophy, truth, government, what we need to do in order to turn this world around, and individually what we can do to have better, more fruitful, and helpful lives. This is 2,100 pages of the most complete and replete truth in the entire planet. So if you're just landing on this page for the first time, make sure you bookmark this book in your mind. You can like and subscribe because we go through all this Urantia book content. This is written by advanced celestial beings, but you do not have to take my word for it. Read this book for yourself. But don't forget that there is a book on the planet that will answer it all and more. What happens in the afterlife. And it's so well written and so genius that you will easily see that this is the truth. But you have to read the whole thing. You can't just take it piecemeal. But any page that you open up to, and we're going to do that right now, is going to be completely uplifting and revelatory. That's what this is to be, a revelation of truth. So you have to approach with an open mind. For instance, they talk about Jesus of Nazareth in this book. I know a lot of people have closed off to that idea because Christianity has changed it to many, many degrees. And they go through the book and say, why has Christianity changed Jesus of Nazareth? Okay? And they bring that back. They bring those ideals of Jesus back to make it a religion that is of Jesus, which is the fatherhood of God and the brother and sisterhood of all humans, instead of the religion about Jesus, which Christianity has become. You know, the fact of the resurrection and drinking the blood from the cup and this and that. Okay, so let's approach this. We're looking at spiritual value of the personality concept with an open mind. So let go of your concepts first and then see how this fits in. Here we go. When Jesus talked about, quote, the living God, he referred to a personal deity, much different than your Buddhist concept. And even in the New Age, people say, well, I believe the universe is doing this and the universe is doing that. The Father in heaven, okay? And again, people want to look at that word father as a dirty word because so many people have had this, terrible relationship with their own personal father, unfortunately. So they don't like to think of God as a father. But it says in the book, you can call it whatever you want. If you want to call it the universal source and center, that sort of thing. But again, even if you call it the universal source and center, you're bringing it back to having a definitive form. It's not just everywhereness. But they also say that concept also does exist in the Urantia book. They call that divinity. This is deity. The concept of the personality of deity facilitates fellowship. It favors intelligent worship. It promotes refreshing trustfulness. Interactions can be had between non-personal things, but not fellowship. I equate that with the concept of force in Star Wars. Use the force. And it's an interaction that's happening with this force, but they never actually say that force is a personal deity. So they're not using the force to fellowship with each other. They're using the force to move things and that sort of stuff. The fellowship relation of father and son as between God and man cannot be enjoyed unless both are persons. Only personalities can commune with each other, albeit this personal communion may be greatly facilitated by the presence of just such an impersonal entity as the thought adjuster. So right there, they're acknowledging there are impersonal spiritual entities in the universe. And one, in fact, dwells within you, the thought adjuster. You bring the personality to the table. This spirit fragment from divinity brings the perfection, the eternalness to the table. And if you choose so, you can merge with that. And that is your spiritual goal in the universe, is to merge with that thought adjuster and to become a eternal being. So it's not saying, hey, your Buddhism is all wet. No, they're saying that's true, that there's impersonal spiritual entities all around us, within us, in fact. but they need to be combined with the personal spiritual entities. Man does not achieve union with God as a drop of water might find unity with the ocean. Now that's, again, back to your Buddhism. That's what they're pointing out there. Man attains divine union by progressive, reciprocal spiritual communion, by personality intercourse with the personal God, by increasingly attaining the divine nature through wholehearted and intelligent conformity to the divine will. See, you might look at that word and say, oh, that's a dirty word. We don't want conformity, because we're associating that with conforming to human ideas, like a human political party or something like that. But if you free will choose to conform to perfection of truth, beauty, goodness, personality is individuality. This is unity, not uniformity. I would very much like to conform with that concept, because conforming with that allows me to be myself. It's not saying you have to throw away your personality to become just this one drop of water. It's saying the opposite of that, folks. To the divine will. Such a sublime relationship can only exist between personalities. You see? They want you to be you. They want you to be recognized in the afterlife. And you recognize grandma because you'll say, oh, that's grandma. We know her personality. She's cracking it up and this and that. Not that she's just become this devoid personality of drop of water, ocean stuff. The concept of truth might possibly be entertained apart from personality. The concept of beauty may exist without personality, but the concept of divine goodness is understandable only in relation to personality. See, truth, that can be philosophical. You don't need that. Truth is the philosopher's stone. Okay, beauty can just even be like a dead art or something like that. But when you goodness, that needs beings to relate to each other and say, hey, you're good or you're not good. Only a person can love and be loved. See, that's the key understanding. When you want to look at one line in the Urantia book that understands why personal deity is important, and it's not just Buddhism or even in the the New Age with the universe and stuff. And again, it's not denying that, okay? So don't think of it needs to be either or. This is synthesis. This is unity here. But this is the line that I go to. Only a person can love and be loved. So that's why God is a person. Even beauty and truth would be divorced from survival hope if they were not attributes of a personal God, a loving Father. And don't let that phrase person somehow take away from the infinitude or eternalness. It's person that we can't even wrap our minds around. We'll probably never fully understand how this personality can exist in the universe, this God, because it's just so beyond our comprehension. I mean, it takes an eternity to even stand in the freaking presence of the eternal God. We cannot fully understand how God can be primal, changeless, here we go, all-powerful and perfect, and at the same time surrounded by an ever-changing and apparently law-limited universe, right? An evolving universe of relative imperfections. There's beings, these superhuman beings cannot fully understand this. So there's just some things that are paradoxes in the universe. And God is the great paradox. But we can know such a divine truth in our own personal experience, since we all maintain identity of personality and unity of will in spite of the constant changing of both ourselves and our environments. Some things are beyond words. Some things are beyond being able to write this down. They're just purely personal experiences in the universe. And this is, in fact, one of those things that you can know, but you're not going to write a formal statement about it because it's just beyond man's logic. However, once you know it, you'll find that it is altogether logical and reasonable. Ultimate universe reality cannot be grasped by mathematics, logic, or philosophy, only by personal experience and progressive conformity to the divine will of a personality of God. It takes a person in order to do mathematics. It takes a philosopher in order to do philosophy. Neither science, philosophy, nor theology can validate the personality of God. Only the personal experience of the faith sons of the Heavenly Father can affect the actual spiritual realization of the personality of God. Okay, see how we're going really deep with this understanding, but it's just also so simple because we're just having the experience. The higher concepts of universe personality imply identity, self-consciousness, self-will, and possibility for self-revelation. Okay, that is auto-revelation. You can have that while you're doing a meditation or some sort of relationship with God. This book is epochal revelation. It's unearned knowledge for the entire planet. And these characteristics further imply fellowship with other and equal personalities, such as exists in the personality associations of paradise deities. And this absolute unity of the associations is so perfect that divinity becomes known by indivisibility, by oneness. Okay, again, paradox. Three persons of the Trinity being one God. The Lord God is one. Indivisibility of personality does not interfere with God's bestowing his spirit to live in the hearts of mortal men. Indivisibility of humans' father's personality does not prevent the reproduction of mortal sons and daughters. The concept of indivisibility in association with the concept of unity implies transcendence of both time and space by the ultimacy of deity. Okay, the ultimate, they capitalize that. That's a specific aspect of God. Okay, there's many different aspects. Even though there's God the Father, the central personality, there are all of these different other aspects of God that need to function in order for everything to exist. Therefore, neither space nor time can be absolute or infinite. Okay, yeah, it's not that time is infinite. It's that there's an existence beyond time, which is infinite. The first source and center is that infinity who unqualifiedly transcends all mind, all matter, and all spirit. The fact of the Paradise Trinity in no manner violates the truth of divine unity. The three personalities of the Paradise Deity are, in all universe reality reactions and all creature relations, as one. Neither does the existence of these three eternal persons violate the truth of the indivisibility of deity. I am fully aware that I have at my command no language adequately to make clear to the mortal mind how these universe problems appear to us. But you should not be discouraged. Not all of these things are wholly clear to even the high personalities belonging to my group of paradise beings. Ever bear in mind that these profound truths pertaining to deity will increasingly clarify as your minds become progressively spiritualized during the successive epochs of the long mortal ascent to paradise. So you just got to experience things, folks. And we know that even from, like, let's say you went to college. How are you going to tell your child what that experience is like? You can give them the words. You can give them every word. You can write a 2,000-page book about it. But until they actually are in there and they're like, oh, wow, okay, this is what college is like. But we're talking about, a long mortal ascent. But each time that you gain a little bit in this ascent, you're satiated and satisfied. So it's not like, oh, I need to die and then go to heaven in order to have, completion. No, you gain a little bit here and now, even by just reading one of these papers. Think of those words you just put into your mind, And then you say, oh, okay, that makes sense to me now. I see why it's important that God be a personality. It can love and be loved. So that's presented by a divine counselor, a member of a group of celestial personalities assigned to the Ancients of Days, Uversas. So this is just saying who wrote the book. I'm commissioned to sponsor those papers, portraying many times. All right, look at this. This is interesting. This person says, many times have I enjoyed the supreme pleasure of a sojourn in the immediate personal presence of the Universal Father. So this advanced being has literally, communed with God in the personal presence. We do it through the spiritual network, through our own thought adjuster, that spirit within us. I portray the reality and truth of the Father's nature and attributes with unchallengeable authority. And to me, that is not a dirty word, because I see look at what this being is talking about. Love and be loved, If it's uplifting like that, if it takes everything into consideration and it is that replete, I am perfectly okay with having an unchallengeable authority. I know whereof I speak, okay? I don't mind being like the student here. And I think a lot of people might have a problem with being a student, and they don't want there to be a teacher, right? I want to figure everything out on my own, because we associate unchallengeable authority with our human authorities who are so unfallible, right? But here is an unfallible being a challengeable authority. All right, folks, so there you go. I mean, that's just one little fragment. Look at this book. That's just one tiny fragment of what this thing is teaching. So please like and subscribe. Thanks to everybody who already has, and we will see you in the next video.